with a crucifix upon his face. And it's interesting that he continues upon this masquerade, this whatever demon has control of his mind and his heart and his spirit, and this infatuation with Jesus Christ.
It's not surprising to see that Kanye has reverted to his old ways when it comes to his music and the erratic behavior that he has been showing. It's sad, but not surprising. It's sad because Kanye could have been someone that the Lord truly touched. We don't know. But what happens is when you have someone that has not been discipled, when you have someone who has not been taught in the true way of the Lord, but is instead being manipulated, being utilized for clout, for celebrity like Kanye was when he came out as a Christian, you have this person revert to the things that it had done before. Jesus talks about this in Matthew 12, verse 43. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. And so shall it be with this wicked generation. So what you are experiencing with Kanye West is that man is worse in this state than he was before. All the erratic behavior, all the craziness he has done. He even came to the Super Bowl with a demonic mask on. All the crazy stuff that this man is doing is because he is in a worse state than he was before. This man needs true deliverance from those demons that had left him supposedly when he had repented. But you know what the sad part about it is? You have people like Candace Owens, who calls herself a Christian, who rags about hip hop culture, it seems like every other day, from Cardi B to Ice Spice and other people.
Pick me, Cardi. I can tell you what I will be mad at, rather than saying I'm going to use my position for good and I'm going to encourage people to do good. You think that you can only stay authentic to yourself by preaching poison. You know this is poison. You know that the majority of the girls that are listening to this are not ever going to make it out of the hood. You know that the majority of the young boys and the young girls that are listening to this are going to think that it's cool to have this sort of drama in their life, and they're going to think it's cool to turn to the streets, and they may be harmed, but you don't care about that. I don't mind where you started. What I mind is that you are intentionally denying growth and you think that that keeps you real. It doesn't. It keeps you really stupid.
Yeah, that one Candace Owens is endorsing Kanye's Vulgar album. You don't believe me? Take a look at this. See this? First of all, she starts off by saying on February 10th, congratulations, Kanye. Cancel culture has been officially canceled. Vultures. And so then she goes up and she talks about this one particular song called Stars, right? She tweets this out yesterday. Now, this song, Stars, is where Kanye talks about Taylor Swift. He says, I feel like me and Taylor might still have, And he said he made her famous. This song, and there's vulgarity and all this stuff just in this portion. Just this portion, right, of the song. This is the song that Candace Owens, the one that rails about toxic black culture, calls black culture toxic, that rails about all of these hip hop artists and calls them trash. She's the one that is tweeting this particular song out. And Kanye's not done. He has another song called Carnival where he calls himself the new Jesus. And he takes another swipe at Taylor Swift. Now, it doesn't matter what you think about Taylor Swift. This is not about Taylor Swift. This is about Candace Owens, the same person that has all these negative things to say about hip hop culture, calling it trash, calling black culture trash, but yet she endorses this song that's full of vulgarity. What does that tell you? I'll tell you what it tells you. It tells you that We live in a world of people who call themselves Christian, but they have no idea what it means to follow Christ. These people are politically motivated, and they are not motivated based on principle. They're not motivated based on facts. They're not motivated based on truth. They're not motivated based upon a biblical understanding of the word of God. They are not motivated by biblical truth to where you speak the truth at all times. They are biased, just as they will call somebody on the left biased. This is biased, because if you rail against hip hop culture, if you rail against toxic black culture, shouldn't you rail against Kanye, what he's doing? But no, you will not, because this is the same person that you posed with at a fashion show wearing White Lives Matters shirt. Yeah, you did, Candace Owens. So this is your partner, Kanye. So you can't condemn him. No, you will endorse him. You will lift him up and say that cancel culture has been canceled. How hypocritical is that? That is very hypocritical. So I wouldn't expect Candace Owens to say anything negative about any other rapper at all, period, in the future.
A real standard, right? Or there should be no double standard.
I would not expect that, because if you can endorse what Kanye just put out, then you will not have any legitimate grounds to stand on when you come out and talk about anybody else. So I wouldn't expect her to say anything else negative about any other rapper.
Which brings me to music. That seems to be something that journalists are constantly trying to convince us is worthy when we know that it's not. I talk often about Cardi B, but there are some other artists that we should discuss. And I describe these artists as too big to fail. You know, the banks were too big to fail in '08, and they're like, oh, it's okay, we're just going to pretend everything's fine, but it wasn't fine at all. Well, there are certain artists who started and they were tremendously talented, and then they got so big that no matter what they do,
I like Hitler. I love him. No, he seems like a cool guy, you know.
or what they produce, all of the journalists tell you it's amazing.
But I wouldn't put that past her, because you have to understand something. By and large, a lot of these people do not share your ideals. A lot of these people only say this stuff to benefit themselves, to profit off of your ideals and profit off of what you believe. They, deep down in their hearts, they don't really believe it. They do not really believe it. And actions like this from Candace Owens demonstrates this fact. The fact that she would rail on other quote unquote hip hop artists because of and rightfully so, because of the toxic lyrics that they have in their songs, but yet endorse Kanye West is disappointing in the least and hypocritical at the worst. It just is. And so I hope she comes out and rectifies this. See, I really do. Because a lot of people listen to Candace Owens, and a lot of people will see the hypocrisy in what she is doing. The simple fact that she is endorsing this album is troubling, but it's not surprising.